Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into a book many of you have asked us to explore, Greg McKeown's Essentialism, The Disciplined Pursuit of Less. And this isn't just another productivity book, is it? It feels like more of a fundamental rethink. Our mission today is to cut through the noise, really pull out the core insights from the sources you shared, and give you a solid shortcut to understanding its message.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds simple at first, doesn't it? Do less, but better. But, as we'll unpack, McKeown isn't talking about that kind of Instagrammable minimalism or certainly not laziness. It's more like a deep clean of life's clutter, that mental junk drawer we all have, full of obligations and distractions. The disciplined pursuit of less, it sounds like a paradox, right?
Yeah.
Until you get the kind of ruthless clarity it actually demands.
Okay, let's get into that clarity. When we talk essentialism, what is it not? Because I think there are some common misunderstandings right out of the gate.
Oh, absolutely. He's very clear. Essentialism is not about just doing more things faster, efficiency for efficiency's sake. And it's not just decluttering your wardrobe for that quick dopamine hit either, or even becoming a super organized yes person with a packed but perfectly managed calendar. No. Instead, it's really about consciously choosing what matters most, the vital few, and then finding the courage to cut away everything else.
Yeah.
It's about living by design, not just drifting along by default, and treating no actually as a helpful tool, an act of service even to what you really should be doing. He asked this really sharp question. If you could only do one thing with your time and energy right now, what would it be?
Oof. Yeah, that cuts deep. And he breaks this down, doesn't he, into sort of stages or phases for making this shift?
He does, yeah. He calls them 4 movements, which I think is a nice way to put it, like a journey. First is essence. That's like the mindset shift, really grasping that less can be better, but only if you choose right. Second is explore. And this is crucial, and maybe where lots of us stumble. It's about actually making space to figure out what does matter. Time to think, to explore options, not just react all the time.
Which requires saying no to being busy for a bit.
Exactly. Which leads to the third movement, eliminate. He calls it the brutal art of cutting away the non-essential. And it is brutal sometimes. It means saying no, maybe disappointing people, letting go of sunk costs. It stings.
I can see that.
And then finally, execute. This is about making the important stuff easy, designing systems, routines. So the essential things happen almost automatically.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me, because the book doesn't just offer tips, it really pushes back against the way things usually work. What are some of those revolutionary ideas that flip things upside down?
Yeah, it's quite subversive in places. He really takes aim at a lot of mainstream thinking. One of the big ones, kind of a mic drop moment, is if you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. Right. It just reframes every single time you say yes without really thinking.
Yeah.
You're basically handing over the steering wheel. Someone else is setting your agenda.
That meeting you didn't really need to be in.
Exactly. That was you letting someone else drive for that hour.
Yeah.
And building on that, he argues no isn't negative. It's a strategic asset. We're kind of taught yes is good, no is bad, or risky. He flips it. Every yes takes away from something potentially more important. A no protects your best contribution.
It's a boundary.
Precisely. And then there's the whole idea that rest and play are core productivity tools. This just flies in the face of hustle culture, doesn't it? He's saying sleep, downtime, play, they aren't luxuries. They're non-negotiable for high-quality thinking, for creativity.
So stopping work is work, in a way.
In a very real sense, yes.
Yeah.
It's maintenance for your brain. And then there's the 90% rule.
Yes. Tell us about that one.
Okay, so the idea is if an option, an opportunity, whatever it is, doesn't score at least 90 out of 100 on your own scale of importance or excitement, just treat it as a 0.
90, that's high.
It is. It's designed to kill all those maybe things. The stuff that's just okay but ends up draining your energy because it's not a clear, enthusiastic yes.
That rule sounds almost, ruthless. It seems so easy to just say yes to things that are maybe a 70%, right? FOMO is real.
It is ruthless.
Yeah.
But that's the discipline part he emphasizes. It forces a higher standard for where your energy goes. And tied into that is treating trade-offs as choices, not tragedies. We usually think, I have to choose, I lose something. He reframes it. Making a trade-off is a deliberate design decision, like an editor cutting scenes to make a film stronger. You choose what stays.
Choosing what not to do is as important as choosing what to do.
Exactly. Which leads to editing your life like a masterpiece. Instead of cramming more in, the essentialist cuts more out. That's just fundamentally countercultural. And importantly, it's not just about willpower. It's about building systems that make the essential effortless, setting up your environment, your routines, so the right things happen more easily. It challenges that idea that it's all just about personal grit.
Okay, so with these big ideas, he must be taking on some common myths we all kind of carry around about work and life. What are the main ones he tries to bust?
Oh yeah, he definitely spends time poking holes in those myths that keep us feeling constantly overwhelmed and, let's be honest, often ineffective.
Yeah.
A big one is, I have to do everything. The idea that success means grabbing every opportunity, saying yes to everything.
Right, busy equals successful.
Yeah, and his reality check is, trying to do everything guarantees mediocrity. You spread yourself too thin. Then there's the one you mentioned. Saying no is selfish or rude. We worry about burning bridges. But he argues a thoughtful no is actually respectful. It respects your own limits and allows you to give a truly committed yes when you mean it. It sets clear expectations.
A clear no is better than a resentful yes.
Totally. And related is that myth of busy, important. Rushing around looks productive, but often it just signals poor planning. Truly impactful people often seem calmer because they're focused on the right things. Then there's the control freak myth. If I don't do it, it won't get done right.
Uh-oh. I feel seen.
Huh. Yeah, well, the reality is delegation or elimination or just letting it go might actually be better in the long run. And what about opportunities are rare, grab them all? That FOMO again. McKeown says, hold on, many of those are just distractions disguised as opportunities. They pull you off course.
Filter needed.
Definitely. And the underlying myth, more is better. More options, more projects, more income streams. It must be better, right? But actually, more often means more decisions, more stress, less focus. And finally, he really attacks rest as a luxury. He hammers this home. Sleep, downtime, they are indulgences. They're essential maintenance for your most important asset, your brain, your energy.
Okay, this is all making so much sense, but let's bring it to right now. He wrote this back in 2014. Why does this message feel, if anything, even more critical in 2025? Especially with AI exploding everywhere.
I think if McKeown were updating it now, he'd say these aren't just good ideas anymore. They're basically survival skills. In 2014, we talked about information overload.
Oh.
Now, it feels more like existence overload.
Yeah, that rings true.
It's not just work emails. It's constant notifications, social media pressure, algorithm-driven FOMO telling you what you should be doing, buying, thinking, 24/7. Less but better isn't just a strategy now. It feels like the only real antidote to having your attention completely fragmented. And culturally, think about how busyness has become this weird badge of honor. People almost boast about being burned out.
How are you? Oh, swamped. Like it's a good thing.
Exactly. So McKeown's point that busy isn't the same as productive feels like a necessary rebellion against that whole value system. Plus, decision fatigue is real. We're making more choices than ever. Essentialism's focus on ruthless prioritization becomes a mental health tool, almost. And the AI question is huge. Yes, AI lets us do more faster. Amazing. But the trap is filling that speed with more junk.
Right, generating 1,000 options doesn't mean they're all good options.
Precisely. AI can draft 50 emails, but which one matters? Essentialism provides the filter. It helps ensure technology amplifies the right work, the essential work, not just more work. In a world drowning in shallow content, much of it AI-generated, essentialism is a call for depth, focus. Meaning, like he might say, back then it was an alternative path. Now, it's pretty much a necessity if you want to actually steer your own life instead of being constantly pulled around.
That really lands. A necessity, not an alternative. Okay, so you had to boil this down for someone listening. What are the absolute top 5 takeaways, the core principles?
Okay, scripting it right down, here are the 5 big ones McKeown wants ringing in your ears. 1, you always have a choice. Always. Even when it feels like you have to do something, you chose that feeling or that commitment. Owning that agency is step 1.
Okay. Power and choice.
2, less but better. Obvious but core. Focus ruthlessly on the few things that create the most value. Everything else, it's noise. Remember his filter. If it's not a clear yes, then it's a clear no.
No maybes.
Pretty much. 3, saying no is protection, not rejection. Every yes to something non-essential steals time and energy from what truly matters. Guard that time. It's finite.
Right.
4, protect the asset, which is you. Your mind, your body, your energy. They're your tools.
Yep.
Rest, play, reflection, fast.
Yeah.
They aren't optional extras. They're performance multipliers. Non-negotiable.
Makes sense.
And 5, make the essential effortless. Don't just rely on willpower because that runs out. Build systems, habits, routines, shape your environment so doing the right things becomes the path of least resistance.
Those are really clear and actionable, but digging a bit deeper, is there an unheard message, something maybe quieter, underneath the main points that you picked up on?
Hmm. Yeah, I think there is. It's quieter than less but better, but it feels like the real heart of it all. It's something like your value as a person isn't measured by how much you produce or how busy you are. It's measured by how deeply you engage with what truly matters. He uses the language of productivity, which makes it accessible, right? But underneath, I think it's really a manifesto about self-respect, about sovereignty over your own life. He's almost whispering that every time you say yes without thinking, you erase a tiny piece of yourself, you give away a bit of your power. So essentialism isn't ultimately about efficiency. It's about freedom. It's giving you permission, really, to design a life that feels spacious and meaningful to you, even if the outside world thinks it's slow or selfish or unambitious. The point of clearing the clutter isn't just to do more essential work, it's to make space for being, for living intentionally. He's basically saying you can stop playing the game where your worth is tied to your output. You're allowed off that treadmill.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. Self-respect and sovereignty. And thinking about it personally, how did this book land with you? Did it challenge you or affirm things you already felt?
Yeah, for me, reading Essentialism felt like, you know that background soundtrack in your head of things you kind of believe? Like depth over breadth, quality over quantity, rest being important. It felt like McKeown just took that soundtrack and turned the volume way up, made it impossible to ignore.
Right.
So it strongly affirms my belief that deep work matters, that rest fuels creativity, that choice is power. But it definitely challenges me too. That 90% rule. Oof. I confess, I still say yes to things that are probably only 70% excites me,
Yeah.
partly out of FOMO, partly obligation.
Yeah, me too.
And it really pushes me on uncommitting, letting go of projects, even if I've sunk time into them. That's hard. Radical editing is tough when you like having lots of ideas simmering. But I don't think he's saying kill your curiosity. It's more about channeling it. Like focus the beam. Don't just leave the spotlight scattered everywhere. Keep the music, maybe, but definitely drop the noise.
Keep the music, drop the noise. I like that. This whole exploration really drives home that maybe achieving more of what matters requires deliberately doing less overall. It's such a strong case for clarity in this incredibly noisy world.
Absolutely. And maybe as you're reflecting on this, think about McKeown's own wake-up call. That story about nearly missing his daughter's birth for a client meeting, it made him realize how easily the trivial can completely steamroll the vital. So the question for you is, what's your essential one thing? That core priority you wouldn't compromise. And maybe, just maybe, try applying that 90% rule this week. Look at one opportunity or commitment on your plate. Is it really a 90% yes for you? If it's not, what would it actually look like and feel like to practice a thoughtful, respectful no?
Powerful questions to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We really hope this exploration helps empower you to choose what truly matters most and maybe, just maybe, start steering your own life a little more deliberately.